We got merch. First link in the description, check it out. I'll talk about that more at the end of this video, but what I got to talk about today was something that kind of slipped by a lot of people that I think is actually really important, because what I'm going to talk about today has huge ramifications for not just the state of California, but everyone in the nation when it comes to your gun rights. And it's something that somehow slipped by most people. I managed to somehow not make a video about it, but when it initially got dropped, I was busy at the time. So what we're talking about today is the California Department of Justice suing the ATF alongside the Giffords Law Center to have the ATF stop the sale of 80% lowers in the nation. So yes, this is the state of California alongside gun grabbing groups suing the ATF to make them stop 80% firearms sales nationwide. You heard me correctly. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about what's going on. This is not clickbait. Please share this with your friends because this managed to slip by a lot of people. I think a lot of people were held up with the SIG brace debacle, that this slipped by a lot. So we're going to talk about this and what's going on in just a second. Before I do, I got to say thank you to the sponsor of this channel, Franklin Armory. Huge supporters of me, huge supporters of the state of California, huge supporters nationwide when it comes to gun rights. I'm very happy to have them on board. Check out their CA7, CA11, or their CA12 pistols if you're in the state of California. If you're in a free state, go ahead and check out their binary trigger line. Very cool stuff. I'm thankful to have them on board. Man, I just cannot not mess up the promo ever. Okay, so here we are. We're on 80% Arms website because this is a blog that they have. I figured this was just probably the best way to actually talk about it because they actually reached out to me and said, hey, I don't know if you want to cover this, but this is something that got brought up and many people didn't notice it. So they made this blog post that I'm also going to then link to the lawsuit itself. But so here's the thumbnail now coming to you, People's Republic of California with the little hammer and sickle. In a brazen and shocking move against constitutional rights, the state of California has filed a lawsuit against the ATF to not just make 80% lowers illegal in California, but to have a federal ban enacted nationwide. Now, that's probably going to be something that you're like, how is that even possible? We'll get to that in just a second and how the ATF would actually be able to have the authority, and I put that in quotes because I disagree with it completely. I don't think they should be able to have that authority, but they seemingly do, unfortunately. This is unprecedented. Never before has a single state sued the federal government to try and alter the law for every other state in the union. 80% Arms has long existed behind enemy lines, and you can see in the lawsuit that we are targeted specifically. So if you didn't notice, if you didn't know, 80% Arms is actually based out of Southern California. Right here is a clip from the lawsuit itself that shows a little example here. They boasted that jig kits are easy enough for a caveman to use, and an ATF special agent noted that if you can put IKEA furniture together, you can turn an 80% receiver into a functional ghost gun. Because jig kits are commonly packaged with 80% receivers and frames, their conversion to operable firearms is simple and convenient. So when you talk about what an 80% lower is, there is no law, there's no like literal law that says a firearm must be 80% completed, and if it's 81% completed, then it is actually a firearm. That's just from the ATF's determination of what makes a firearm, and they had to determine what point is something readily converted to. So if we actually look at the ATF website, this is their definition of what an 80% receiver. These are just some examples. So I think back in the early 2000s, what people did was they made lower receivers that were completely done except for just the trigger pins and the safety hole. So all you had to do was drill 3 holes straight through the side, and that made it a finished gun. And those were what people were selling for a while. ATF eventually said, whoa, that's too readily convertible to a firearm to be sold because we're going to consider that enough of a firearm to be legally a firearm, which is kind of a weird area because there is no direct law that says 80%. It's just that's what the ATF has determined is considered readily convertible. So here is an example of one that would be considered a firearm. It doesn't have the holes drilled. The trigger pocket is not completely drilled out, but it has a little bit more completed than the solid top side that they would consider not a firearm. So that's what it comes to here. 80% Arms says, kind of confidently, is it as easy as the ATF says? Well, we certainly wouldn't reserve the term easy jig because it was difficult. And if you don't know what their easy jigs are, it's basically just they have certain jigs that go around an 80% receiver that they call an easy jig. You basically just drill a couple holes and then you take a laminate router and you rotate them around. That was their first gen. I have actually done one of those, which I later definitely destroyed. But yeah, so they're pretty easy to do. Anyone can do the metal ones. The Glocks are very, very easy. You basically drill a few holes. Hand tools and a soft file are really all you need. So I think what the state is doing with this lawsuit, which I'm going to have linked below if you want to read the full thing, they're going after the ATF and saying, hey, these are too readily convertible, or these are too close to being considered a firearm to be able to be legally sold. And why this is really important is, one, because this is going to destroy gun rights, because ultimately, while 3D printing is great, go check out controlpew.com. I think that for the average person, it's easier for them to just buy an 80% kit, which is currently legal, use a hand drill, use a file, and they're good to go. There's going to be some dogs barking, and I apologize for that. It's just something you got to put up with. So for the average person, 80% are probably the better route for a lot of people. I think that if they were to ban these nationwide, that would be huge, because for a lot of people, they're not comfortable with the government knowing what they have. I think having ghost guns is the ultimate fail-safe. So 3D printing is cool, but for the average person, it's just easier for them to have these 80%. And if these were to go away nationwide, not only would that kill a lot of people's jobs and destroy a lot of businesses nationwide, that would also put everyone in a position where they're unable to have those guns in the event that the government decides to try to take stuff away. It's a lot easier to have a bunch of stashed guns that the government never knew existed, you know? So if you're not taking photos of them, I think this is just, it's very clear why I'm pro 80% and pro ghost gun. But the first link in the description is going to have some other links that you can go to that will have all the information for 80% arms, but I am going to leave a link to the lawsuit down below as well. So if you want to check that out, go ahead, check it out. Like I said, we have merch now. Here is the first design that we have. We have this in a variety of different colors. I really want to say thank you to Johnny and Emily over at Shall Not Comply. They did all the work getting all of this set up. I really cannot thank them enough. I am blown away with how well the designs came out. We have a whole bunch more plans in the future. Right now we have hats. These are just pretty simple snapbacks. They're nice. I like them. We're going to have a couple other shirts as well down in the pipeline. I am so excited for how far this has come. I'm so excited for how far this channel has come. I'm very happy that we're at a point where I think it's very cool that we're at a point where people have enough interest to where they actually want merch from me, which is, I never thought this would happen. I never really expected this, but I'm thankful for everyone that's been along this ride and along this journey with me. I really can't say thank you enough. You guys know the drill. Have fun, be safe, stay dangerous. Peace. If you enjoyed this video, or if you found this video informative in any way, shape, or form, double check for me that you are subscribed. I've had a lot of people lately, like this gentleman, who recently told me that he, after I mentioned it, noticed that he was unsubscribed by YouTube. I don't know what, I don't know how, I don't know why, but I know that YouTube doesn't like me on this platform, so we are working behind enemy lines in the state of California and working behind enemy lines in the sphere of YouTube. So if this helped you at all, let me know. Thank you. I appreciate it. You know the drill. Have fun, be safe, stay dangerous. Peace.